Hi, everybody. My name's Scott Hillier. I'm an independent film director and president of ÉCU, the European Independent Film Festival, and the All Asian Independent Film Festival, which we just conducted a couple of weeks ago in Manila in the Philippines. And we're very, very happy and proud today to have four filmmakers on with us to talk about their films, about themselves, and a little bit about what they're up to next. So without much further ado, I think I'm going to start off. And I'm going to start off with, I believe we've got Ahmen and Mariam from the wonderful documentary called My Mother's Daughter. Are you guys there at the moment?
Hi, yes, I just logged on.
Ah, excellent. Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're good, thank you. We're both in London, so we're both in the same time zone at the same time.
That's rare, but hopefully fun at the same time. Okay, great. Well, as we know, it's a award-winning film now from us. The film went over very, very well in the Philippines, and I'm wondering if you guys could introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the film.
Yep, I'm happy to start. My name is Ahmen Khawaja, and I'm a journalist and a filmmaker. And if you can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you fine.
Yeah, so Mariam and I teamed up, and we made this short film on this girl you see before you right now. Her name is Mehek, and the story is really about her journey of survival after having gone through some very, very traumatic circumstances. She's a survivor, a rape survivor. She's also um, trying to fight a legal battle against her perpetrator who kidnapped her, who forced her to convert to Islam. And she's just been through a horrific time. And she also ended up being pregnant from that abusive, situation. So we followed her for a period of 6 to 7 weeks. We established a relationship with her of trust, where she had to feel comfortable to tell us her story. She's still in many ways a vulnerable child. She's 16. She was just turning 16 when we met her, or 15. So we were very of course we were very aware of her age and her situation and her vulnerability. So I think it taught us a lot of lessons as well on access and how to kind of speak and how to deal with people speaking about trauma. And we ended up making this very honest, raw film about, this three-way relationship that you would have seen of our protagonist and her mother, and then her child also, and the complications that have arisen for the family as a result.
Well, I think that's the point. The words that I just heard there were raw and real, and there's very much that in the film. And I guess for people watching out there now, a lot of them are independent filmmakers, and I've made a lot of documentaries, so I love the concept of telling real, raw, true stories. But how did you gain that confidence? Was it just a lot of being around them and being empathetic with them and listening to their story?
Yeah, I mean, we we had about 3 months to create the documentary because this was part of a program that we were in a fellowship. And in all of that, we used to go weekly to Faisalabad. So this was a different city from where we were living. And we spent many weeks, like Eamon said, we spent around 7 weeks traveling there and just spending time with her throughout the day. Sometimes most of the day the camera wasn't even on, so we would just be spending time with her family. She has four other sisters, so a lot of the time was spent with the family trying to understand everything that they go through.
What's been the
We
reaction?
also would,
I'm sorry. I was just wondering what's been the reaction when they saw the film at the end, and has the film shown at other festivals as well?
yeah, has shown in different festivals in Pakistan, in India, in the US as well.
And what was their
So
reaction
far,
when they saw the film? The family.
shared. So they've been happy about the fact that the story is being shared, and this is why they agreed to do difficult for her as well and for her family to be on camera and be comfortable with that sort of situation. So the fact that we shared the story with the world, this is something like exactly what they wanted, because they don't want this sort of situation happening to other girls. Because unfortunately, this is something that happens in Pakistan. More than 1,000 girls go through this every single year, and those are just reported cases. So they want this shared as widely as possible as well.
Well, I congratulate you as a fellow documentarian to telling a great story like this, and hopefully we can get that horrific number down by making films like this and bringing it to the world. So congratulations again for a great film and for winning an award. And when we'll later on in the show, we'll ask you a little bit about what future projects you might be working on. But next I want to go to the filmmakers of The Dragon in the Clouds. I believe we have Rodrigo, help me out here.
Yes,
we have
yes, we have. I'm trying. Here it is.
There you go. You were lost, but now you're found. So
oh yeah, indeed.
Nice. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your film, or introduce yourself, and then tell us a little bit about your film, because I will massacre your name. There's no doubt.
I mean, no, it's just Nikki, so don't worry.
I've got that one fine.
Yeah, nothing fancy. Hi everyone, I'm Nikki Santos Ocampo. I'm based in Manila, Philippines, and my team's film is called Ang Dragon sa Kapanganuran, or Dragon in the Clouds. That title is in Cebuano, one of the Filipino languages. So the film is actually just it asks a simple question, which is, what does it mean to be Filipino, and who can determine what that is? So we present kids essentially in 1898, which is the height of the Philippine Revolution, when we were about to be ceded from Spain. And it deals with their different ethnic conflicts, or just how they sort of, lived life during that time. There are four main characters that we highlight. Hundyong, the Chinese man that you see right now. Jaime Oyangguren, a Spanish medical corps officer. And then there is Solita Rosales, one of the rebels, which we will see later. And how Hundyong deals with the death of his sister, Hunhong. Not a spoiler, it's in the it's in the premise. But yeah, right now what they're talking about is how Filipinos differ. We actually still struggle with this, how it's a very regionalistic country. As an archipelago, you have people that don't actually identify as Filipinos. They identify more with their tribes or their regions. And the conversation here is very important, because they talk about how, even though both of them are ethnically not Filipino, they are not natives or indigenous people of the land, they have grown up in the archipelago their whole lives. So yeah, this movie is very personal to me as well, as a multi-ethnic Filipina. I've never I grew up in the Philippines. I lived my whole life here, but this is a good movie to showcase just how intense globalization, the effects of globalization have been, because from then until now we still experience these kinds of subtle conflicts, racial discrimination.
No, it's very interesting what you're saying. I was down in the Palawan Islands, in Palawan.
Wow.
Just after the film festival, actually, I went down there for a week, and I met a photographer, and he told me this great story that he escaped Manila just before the lockdown for COVID, and he sort of ended up living with a tribe for like 6 months, tribe out in the middle of nowhere type of thing. And he said after COVID, he sort of went back, and he could basically say a lot about what you've just said about the globalization and how it's actually affecting everybody, and how they're sort of fighting not to become part of the sort of the main tribe and still keep a certain form of their identity. And that was something that was very much unknown to me. So going there, and I've watched your film and I've read some books, but I think there was that. But I just wanted to ask a question. You're local, you're based there. What are what are the younger generation? Do they actually even sort of remember about the Spanish Revolution and the gaining of freedom and the issues that you're talking about in your film?
Oh, actually, it depends on where you are. Here in Manila specifically, since it's the main city, of course it's talked about a lot in our history. But if you go down south, let's say to Mindanao, it would actually be a very different story. Not that it was unknown or anything. Rather, actually, Manila knows less about the history of other islands as compared to about us, since being the capital. I could talk about educational imperialism. They actually call us Imperial Manila, but that's a rabbit hole. And yeah, when it comes to representing the other regions and regional identities of the Philippines, it's getting there, I guess. Because it's not just about the indigenous people groups. It's really just about the different regions. Like, let's say Cebuanos have a very strong cultural identity, or they just, they like being called Cebuano, they don't like being called Filipino. Although I guess some people might debate with me on that. Mindanaoans also, since it's an island with Islamic influence, they would also have their own conflicts there. But generally, at least it's a somewhat peaceful time right now. Hopefully it stays that way. And yeah, there are a lot of intricacies to the identity of a Filipino person, because it's much like, I guess, with any globalized nation right now, it just encompasses a group of people no matter where they come from. Americans especially are a really good example of that. You can have people of different races and color, but they all identify as American. It's the same thing for a Filipino.
Yeah, no, it's great, and it's very interesting. The film that we just talked about before, My Mother's Daughter, was a documentary. It gave a lot of knowledge, and it's sort of taken a very interesting subject out from underneath a rock. And I think that's exactly what your film did. So I applaud you, and it was very well done. And independent filmmaking is not easy, but you could tell there was a lot of work and effort went into that film. So congratulations to you and to the team. Okay, now we're going to move on to a visual extravaganza of a film, which is called A Version of Nature. And I believe we have the director here. There she is. She's a little bit worried about her English, but for me it was perfect when we did a test yesterday. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your film?
Good afternoon. I'm Lingyi. You can call me Yu. And it is my pleasure to have this opportunity today. I came from China and I'm the director for Version of Nature. Now I share my screen.
We're gonna play some elements of your film, and I'd love you to talk to me about where your idea came about this amazing visual extravaganza that you presented to us.
Okay, it is a multimedia dance drama film about China's world-class intangible cultural heritage. The 24 solar terms, and you can see the screen. The 24 solar terms by the ancient Chinese people to observe nature change into spring, autumn, summer, and winter based on the 4 seasons. It corresponds to the weather change in China's growing patterns and is known as China's 5th major invention. And why I chose the theme, my initial intent of traditional culture and use dance is prized for full of imagination to create a work that had never done before. After more than a year's selection, I finally chose the 24 solar term as the romantic theme. And why I chose the actor and how the actor performed. Among many actors in China, I selected 2 well-known dancers according to the physical expression of dance that I needed. They are Da Zhu and Zhiyu. I think most dance training in China is based on the classical dance, but I feel that the physical expression of classical dance is relatively soft. I feel that a physical expression that lean towards modern dance can better express the communication with nature and life force, which is very challenging for actor because it's pure athletic. And at the beginning of our online video communication, the dancer didn't really understand how to perform this type of stage performance that were different from the performing at stage. Because there were nothing in the studio except for the camera and light, they didn't know how to perform in front of the camera, which required a lot of imagination. So on the set, I would usually work through the choreography with my design camera angle and preliminary music to express the corresponding solo turns at each position. At the same time, I would use my body to perform and describe the movement with words. For example, during the solo turns of Qingzhe, the dancer would first express the natural phenomenon of thunder with their posture before showing the rapid growth of the plant. I would use my hand to express a general state, and they would quickly understand what we needed and create what we see today. And I think the most difficult part was the scene of Xiaohan and Dahan, which not only required the turn of line dancer and the dance teacher to work together, but required cooperation between all the departments, such as prompts, lighting, costume, makeup, and cinematography. And the actor costume has many colors, and we only have the 2-day budget for filming. The costume includes blue, green, red, white, and black. This means that we can't just see one background on filming. We need to use different color background to match the image. This requires precise time control from all departments for scene transition during filming. The actor makeup and clothing are different too. The dance of the actor is very large, so I need match full scene lighting with it. Yeah.
It is just so beautiful. I mean, honestly, it's just so beautiful, and I congratulate you. Yeah, it's so beautiful. Just rewatching it again now, and I had the opportunity to see it on a big screen. But just for the technical people here, I'm guessing you shot it all on a green screen, very wide, right? Did you do specific lighting on them, or did you do the lighting afterwards in post-production?
所以我们现实拍摄的时候有一些实际的灯光，然后我们在现场也补相对应的一些灯光，去营造这种气氛。
We have the lighting on the stage, and also in the camera, we also have the light. Yeah.
Both have.
Yeah. We try different effects.
Yeah. So you actually had the dancer lit very specifically at each times rather than just blasting it and then fixing it in post. Okay, that's beautiful. Great. And what sort of software did you do for the green screen and the animations?
他问你用了一些什么软件？
像3D Max、C4D、3D Max、AAIFF 就 Adobe, a lot of
such as this kind of software.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, and
we use all we can imagine. We try all the apps.
Well, I think that I might become one of your clients, and I think I might hire you to help me make some of my films, because it's truly beautiful. And you know, filmmaking is all about, whether you're a documentary or feature film or a film like yours, it's all about putting the right picture at the right time with the right sound to create an emotional response. And I think all 3 filmmakers that we've talked to today have done that. But now I'm going to go to the film Avenger. Now, Avenger, I'm sure there's a great story behind it. I know there has been for us, because we've been sitting on this film for quite a while. We loved it, the jury loved it, and it was voted Asia's Best Independent Film 2023. And this lovely lady here is the director of the film. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about this amazing award-winning film, Avenger?
Yeah, I'm very honored to receive the reward from you, and My name is Zhou Lingyi, and you can just call me Ling. I am the script writer, the director, and the main actress for this film. So this film is about a woman who takes revenge upon her sister's murderers. So those murderers killed her sister when they were still not adults. So they cannot be executed because of their crime due to their age. But the main actress in this film, well, she didn't think that should be the right way to deal with these murderers. So she did by herself. She actually murdered them one by one. So actually, I created this film not to try to make the viewers be happy about this story. I actually wanted them to think about this story, because this story is actually created to explore a thing that happens again and again in the human history. That means equal retaliation. So this kind of retribution is rarely seen in modern society anymore, because now people often turn to the judicial system to resolve their conflicts. But what happens when the law itself is flawed, or the judicial system fails to deliver a fair judgment based on the law? So at that point, maybe the majority might just accept their fate, but a few individuals might try to do an eye for an eye action to achieve what they perceive as justice. So actually, I create this film is try to make people think if they were in that situation, would they just accept their fate, or would they do the same thing as the main character? So I think that is a very, very interesting question. So I want to ask this question, and I want people to think about it. So that's why I created this film.
Well, I think first of all, I must congratulate you on being such an overachiever, from being the director, the writer, and the main actress. That's a lot of work there. As a cinematographer myself, I have to say the pictures were outstandingly beautiful. The pictures were great. And I love the fact that you're like all the other filmmakers we got here today. You want people to think. You want to open up and create that emotion and emotional response. And this film definitely had the emotional response. Can you and again, the audience is a lot of independent filmmakers. But can you tell me how long it actually took to shoot the film?
Well, I prepared for this film for a very long time. I think over 2 months. But the actually shooting period is really short. I think less than 2 days.
Well, congratulations again, you damn overachiever. So that's great, and your lead actor was amazing as well. It's very, very good. So I can't imagine what it's like to direct and act at the same time. Directing is already hard enough for me, but so very many congratulations. I'm wondering, we've talked to all of the filmmakers now, and I'll start with you, but I'd love to know about a little bit about you and what are your next projects?
My next project?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I am preparing for a few very big projects, because for this film, this is only a very short film, and so the content it can contain are very limited because of the time. They only have less than 20 minutes, so I cannot tell a very long story. And actually, I actually worked in a company before I made movies. I made movies because I realized that my passion lies in this. It's just, I think this is a very exciting area, and I want to explore a lot of topics in this area. So actually, I have a lot of stories I want to tell, but those stories are long and they cannot be contained in such a short film. So actually, I have a lot of big projects, and I'm already writing the scripts for these programs. But I think the most difficult thing for me is to find the investment for them, because big films, they need big investment. And now, because I'm still a new newcomer in this industry, so not everyone likes their trust in me. So actually, I'm still trying to find the investment I need. But if I can find it, then I will make, I think, maybe 3 very big projects, and those projects will explore also some very important and very interesting questions that are recurring in our human history.
Well, there's a lot to take out of that little brief conversation there, but one of them is everybody listening to this, please just be passionate about what you do, whether you're going to be a boulangerie baker or you're going to be a man in the street doing whatever. Just find that thing that gives you passion, and obviously the passion for you is there. We can see it on your film, and now that you're part of our community, you can't forget about us with these amazing projects as well, because we want to see them and offer you support in any manner or form we can. So congratulations again on the award. Good luck with your thing, and as I said, all of you now are part of our community, and we'll be coming back to you and asking for your support as well, and finding more great independent filmmakers. But I'm just going to do a very quick run back around to the others. I just wonder about Zhiyu, about the version of nature. What is your next project apart from working with me on some of my films?
Hi, it will be also intangible cultural heritage, focused on Cantonese opera as the main element, or using shadow puppetry as an artistic approach.
Well, yeah, you will be hearing from me, because I definitely want to tap into some of your talent on some of the films that I'm doing. So congratulations for your extravaganza. It is really sumptuous. I liked it very much. If we still have Nikki here, do we still have Nikki here from The Dragon in the Clouds? Hey, Nikki,
Yep.
what are you
Right
working
here.
on? What are you working on next?
Okay, we're actually doing another film this weekend. We don't have a title for it yet, but it deals with another era in Philippine history, the Japanese era. That's around 1950s, 1940s, so World War II. And we'll be comparing another indigenous tribe called the Bagobo, Tagabawa, and how their history interplays with the Japanese colonization, and we'll be revealing one of their long forgotten but very epic deities named Mabuyan.
Well, again, I'll repeat it like a cracked record, but you are part of our community now. Don't forget about us, and we'll be checking in with you to see what sounds like another amazing project. I'm going to go to Ahmen and Mariam, if they're still there, about My Mother's Daughter, to see what you guys are working on next.
Scott, we're both in London, but we both have day jobs. So no plans as of yet, but I am traveling to Pakistan in the next few weeks. So I'll keep my eyes open for another short independent film if I can manage to do that on my holiday. But yeah, I am going to be looking out for some stories.
Yeah.
But other than that, we both have day jobs. I'm a journalist, so you know, always doing stories, but not enough chances to be on the ground. And yeah, I'm really hoping I can make something happen in the next few months.
Well, I think that we all have that sort of day job syndrome. I know the feeling, but you guys are obviously very talented storytellers, and you will get to the next one. And again, don't forget about us. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand this over to Rodrigo, who's the real mover and shaker behind this, because I think some of our crew have some questions to ask you guys. Rodrigo, it's all yours, man.
Yeah, so thank you very much for joining us. We actually have the first question from Nikki, one of our participants today. So I'll give her the floor.
Oh, thank you, Rodrigo. Yeah, I noticed that we are actually all female filmmakers right now. I forgot to mention I'm actually the executive producer of this film. My good friend Adrian is the director and writer. But yeah, I just wanted to ask all of the ladies here, how does it feel, you know, as a female filmmaker in the current industry? You know, we know that it's a very male dominated, especially when it comes to directors, and even producers, you know. So how does everyone feel making their films as a woman? maybe we could start with the team of My Mother's Daughter first. You know, we'll go back in a clockwise kind of way.
Yeah,
Apologies.
sorry. Even if
No, I didn't hear the question. I think there was a shaky internet. I'll let Mariam answer.
Okay, so our project was quite interesting because our fellowship was all female, like it was all female filmmakers from across Pakistan that were specifically chosen. So we always the beginning idea of the film came from Ahmen, and she also really wanted to focus specifically on a female subject as well, because in a society like Pakistan, we feel like that's very important. And the fact that the fellowship was all female, it was pretty empowering, but also it shows you that there is a need for something like that in the industry for it to take place. And then the fact that we had to go to some areas within Pakistan that weren't particularly safe for women, and we had to be filming a female subject. Sometimes we felt a bit unsafe because we had men coming from different neighborhoods coming and telling us like, what are you doing? Why are you filming here? Like, you're making our neighborhood look bad, even though we weren't doing anything particularly bad. We were literally just filming her crossing the road or something. So it really makes you cognizant of your identity when you are faced with issues like that. But the fact that we were able to carry on and go through with it, and the fact that it all ended up happening how we wanted, aside from those little hiccups, it was quite empowering.
Maybe I can ask Miss. Oh, sorry. I thought we were gonna go in a. Could we go in a?
Yeah.
round?
Let's rock and roll. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
So let's talk to Lynn from the Avenger. What did you think of Nikki's question?
Well, actually, in this film, I have a lot of male assistants or male partners in this film, and my executive director is a woman, and I really like her, and she helps me a lot because at that time I have to be the main actress, and I do not have a lot of time to do the director work, and she helps me almost in the whole shooting period. But for me, I think especially as the director of a film, you have to be very tough at the time, because at that time you will have some your idea about this film, but the team workers in that team, they have their points of opinions, and you have to deal with them. And maybe sometimes their suggestions are very useful. And because for me, for example, my script was very long originally, and it's not very suitable to be made as a film. Actually, it can be read very smoothly, but it is more likely a novel, not a script. And so my team workers, well, they told me about this, and I accept their suggestions, and we can see the result is perfect. So, but sometimes they have their way of seeing a movie, of making a movie that I think at that point, maybe I think my way is much better. And so I will discuss with them, and I have to persuade them. And at that time, you have to insist on what you think is the correct one. So I think at that time, you have to be very tough. I think that's the issue I'm facing. Yeah.
And I also think with the name of your film and the way the retribution's taken on, I think they probably ended up listening to your point of view quite a lot.
Yeah.
When you were making a version of Nature, was it a male crew, a female crew, and what's it like for you at the moment, sort of being a female director where you are?
我觉得女性导演在观看的时候，她会有独特的一种视角。就 we have a special version of the camera. So we can see the beautiful from women and from the men. We can with softly talk to them. 然后可以用一种很肢体 we have body language to talk to them, 就是 we can show the
how to perform a dance or how to perform our emotion.
and we can listen to actor and listen to their opinion.
Okay, Rodrigo, do you have another question on the board somewhere?
Yes, what about Nikki? What do you think about this?
Good point.
Oh yeah, I hadn't answered my own question. I could go on about it. But luckily I'm in a society that respects women, I guess. It wasn't it's actually the Philippines is a historically matriarchal society, but you know, we do come across a lot of people that I mean, it's not a gender conflict. It's more of like an artistic conflict where it's like, why would people want to watch that? You know, it's a history film, you know, like it's not relevant to us, you know, like kids don't aren't into that anymore. It's a lot of pandering here in the Philippines when it comes to media. People like to just talk about easy things, and you know, that's usually called I mean, like it's usually just really cheesy romances, basically. And so when you with our film that presents not just a historical account, well, a fictional one, but when it presents a tough question, such as the subtleties of racial discrimination that still exists here, people are just like, huh? Why would you do that? But I've been very lucky that at least being a female did not hinder me from making the film, which is why I'm really I applaud all of the women here, you know, especially for the team of My Mother's Daughter, you know, like just coming off the bat with a heavy topic like child brides, which also happens here in the Philippines. It hits me, it hits me a lot, and I can just imagine how the girls, you know, and all over the world that still suffer through that. I'm actually getting emotional right now. Like, you know, I just hope that yes, with more female representation, more diverse voices in the industry, we could, you know, bring a more holistic media to the people that isn't just, you know, the stuff that people regurgitate, you know, the same topics over and over again.
What you say is extremely interesting and something that we're very, very aware of over here. You know, we've been running ÉCU, the European Independent Film Festival, for 19 years now, and for the last 10 of them, we've had a no, probably 12 of them. We've had an award that's awards the excellence in women's filmmaking. And you know, I have a very long story behind that. You know, I'll give a little bit. I was a war cameraman for 10 years of my life for the BBC. And but two of the best war cameramen that I ever worked with, and I worked with a lot of people, are two girls from CNN. So I grew up on a farm in Australia where women and men are just women and men. We're human beings. And then I went to war, and these two brave, strong, determined, independent people were the best war cameramen we had. And so when we started this festival, we noticed that there was a misrepresentation in the numbers, and so we do everything that we can to actually push that forward. So you know, I didn't even pick up that there were 4 or 5 females here, because to me it's all telling stories, being brave, telling stories. So thank you very much for bringing that up, Nikki. Very much. Rodrigo, I think we've got time for one more question, mate.
Yes. So the last question is for actually the My Mother's Daughter Festival. We read that in February, the documentary was banned in the Pakistan Central Board of Film Censors, with the reasoning provided that it goes against Pakistani culture. Please, can you tell us a little bit about your perspective on the importance of addressing these sensitive social issues like child marriage and forced conversions through your film? And how do you believe this film contributes to the broader conversation in the issues in Pakistan?
I'll start with that, and then Mariam can sort of fill in. I think the fact that our central board has basically rejected our film and censored it it's highly indicative of how our culture and our government feels about such issues. They're in denial, right? So there definitely is a denial in Pakistan, where a lot of people think the figures and the stats that come through are exaggerated. But we have seen legal issues in our research where many judges, we have read judgments, you know, by judges themselves who deal with very similar cases as ours, who said that more than half of the times they actually send the victim back to the perpetrator. So you can see that this is not just a legal issue. This is a cultural issue. This is deeply embedded in our culture, that once you convert to Islam, there's no way you can go back, and you're seeing, and it's quite dangerous as well, in some ways. So of course, some issues we feel that were very important to highlight. We were kind of surprised that our film was censored, because this is a documentary, it's not fiction. And to be told that our film goes against the values of Pakistan was quite a surprise to us. Even though we are Pakistanis, we were very surprised to get that kind of response. And we tried to engage them, the board, with any questions they may have, or any research they may wanted to see, in order to let us proceed with the screening of our film. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. And I think that just made our resolve even stronger. And shockingly, a lot of the responses we got on social media when we shared that our film was censored in the capital city of Pakistan, a lot of people were like, when you're censored in Pakistan, that means your film, you've arrived. And that means your film definitely has a message that people need to hear, and people will be more interested in it now because it's banned, right, effectively. So that was quite shocking for us, but we weren't too surprised. We were like, okay, we kind of, we've heard from different people that they do face this kind of thing with the more sensitive stories, do kind of get this response of denial. But that just, as I said, makes our resolve even more stronger to put women's voices and women's stories out there, for as many people to watch in the mainstream. And I'll let Mariam also put in a few thoughts.
Yeah, I think Ahmen really covered a lot of how we felt. It was quite disappointing because of all the hard work we put into this, and it's a real girl story that we're sharing, that we researched for months on, and then to receive a letter which essentially said that everything we created was propaganda and it was against Pakistan's values. It was quite disheartening. But again, it's shocking to see that gave the film more coverage in Pakistan specifically. A lot more people were more interested in watching it because now they knew that it's something that's banned or it's sort of taboo. Even though we steered very clear from a lot of taboo subjects, we barely mentioned the fact that she's been forced to convert to Islam. We're just trying to show the relationship between her daughter, and her mother. And just humanizing a victim or a survivor in that way felt so threatening to this board that they felt the need to censor it, which was upsetting, but it just shows us that we need to continue to do work like this and try to put it forward and try to at least have it shown across the world so that people can understand what's happening and not just be flippant about it.
Keep telling those stories, ladies. Keep telling the stories. It's bravery and, everything about it. So, congratulations to all of you. Just very quickly, you are part of our community now. Rodrigo and the team will be reaching out to you to help us go forward for the next edition, which will be happening in Cambodia next year in late October. We'll be asking you to jump onto our submission judging panel just to go through some films. It won't be too much of a hard work, but we're developing a community here, and I think the female aspect of it is also fabulous. A great thing to keep exploring. Just a quick plug for us. We're in the middle of preparations for ÉCU, the European Independent Film Festival, which will be taking place in April 2024. So we've got that happening, and then we'll move on to the All Asian in October. So there's a lot of things happening. Please, if you're online here and you're watching us, please www.ecufilmfestival.com. That's where you'll find us, and there's links to the Asian Festival as well. But again, a huge pleasure to talk to you guys, all award-winning filmmakers. That's great for us to see, and great stories, all very, very different. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. I'd like to thank the ÉCU crew for joining in and putting this together at quite late moment notice. Rodrigo for everything right and good that happens with us here at the festival, and Ala, whose fingers have been burning on the keyboard over here to switch all this to make it all work. So have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you very much. Let's keep brave and keep indie.